don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the podcast that no one asked for. My name is Guy,
And this is Babs.
and no one asked for this. Today, we are going to be reviewing El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie that was released on Netflix. El Camino is the conclusion of the Jesse Pinkman story. In the Breaking Bad finale, Walter comes to rescue Jesse, and together they kill all of the neo-Nazis or Nazi people on site, and then Jesse escapes in an El Camino, and this movie picks up right where Breaking Bad ended. Babs, what was your gut reaction to El Camino?
My gut reaction was I was brought back to the sad, morose darkness of the show.
One of the weird things about Breaking Bad is I love Breaking Bad as a television show, but to say that you enjoy what's actually happening on screen at any moment in Breaking Bad that's not happening.
You would not be a normal person if you enjoy it. It kind of hurts your soul. Like every episode would hurt my soul a little bit. You'd have to I don't know, watch the one episode and then I need to watch a comedy or something.
Yeah, everything in and around Walter White's world just gets trampled in his wake.
Yes. And it's
But-
mostly Jesse.
Correct. And that being said, I did enjoy being back in the Breaking Bad world. And enjoy is heavy air quotes. What would you say was your most memorable moment?
My most memorable moment is one of the climactic parts of the movie where Jesse Pinkman, who we're always rooting for, and he just gets his ass kicked time and time again. He gets punched in the face so much, and he's always crying and sad and wrestling with his own demons. And there's a scene in the end where he has the shootout with these guys, and it's such a badass moment where he just shoots everybody.
Yeah, that was one of a few times ever for his character that it was a happy ending. And he seemed in control of the situation from the moment he walked in the door. It was a very Dirty Harry moment where he's just like, hey, I just want I don't know, what was it, $1,800 or something? Mm-hmm. The money he was short of paying Robert Forster, the vacuum man, for his new identity. And he just asked him for that amount of money. And in any movie, television, whenever the character does a asking for less money than they need move, they're about to do something cool. And it's kind of the same for Jesse. Once he goes in and he says a low amount of money, I said, oh, this is going to be awesome because that's how it works in movies. My most memorable moment is when he goes to the apartment of what was the kid's name?
Todd's apartment. It's Todd.
Yes, he goes to Todd's apartment to find his cat stash. And there's this nosy neighbor, and there's also these police officers, what appear to be police officers that turn out to be the people that he shoots at the end of the movie. And it's a cool sequence of we as the audience think one thing is happening, and then it turns out a different thing is happening, and then it turns out even a different thing is happening from that, and it's all kind of wrapped up in a bow of, wait, who were those guys anyway, and were we supposed to know them from the original series? A lot of this, I would say, if you haven't watched Breaking Bad in a while, before you watch El Camino, I would either watch a Breaking Bad recap on YouTube or the last season of Breaking Bad, just to kind of orient yourself as to where you are in the timeline. If you don't have time to do the entire season, then just watch one of the recaps, that usually 15 to 18 minutes. Nothing too strenuous or too long. But yeah, that moment and that whole sequence of him being in the apartment, looking for the money, then the nosy neighbor, plus the police, again, air quotes.
They just kept showing him tearing the entire apartment to pieces, trying to figure out where he had stashed the money. And then when he does find it, you're like, that is the most clever place that no one would ever think to put money there.
No one ever said the Nazis were stupid.
Nope.
They were actually winning Breaking Bad until they were losing. So our next segment we're going to go to is our background bums and bosses, or as I would call them in this particular universe, the Hank or Marie award. The Marie would definitely be a bum, and the Hank would definitely be a boss. Those being characters from Breaking Bad that did not appear in this movie. So who is your Babs, your background bum or boss?
I'm gonna give a Hank Schrader shout out to Skinny Pete. I was happy to see Jesse's friends show up in the very beginning of the movie, and Skinny Pete does a huge solid for him, and that is why.
Yeah, he came up with a good plan.
Yeah, it was
that
a smart
actually
plan.
worked to get Jesse away from the police that were coming to get him, because the trash man, the junk collector, Mr. Magnets, found the LoJack on his El Camino, and then they had to think on their feet and quickly so that Jesse wouldn't be caught immediately at the beginning of the movie. My boss goes to the Todd character. That actor, kudos to him
Yeah,
for coming on and being that same asshole that we all remember and hate. He has the most punchable face, and he's reprehensible, but he plays it so polite
yeah,
that it almost seems like, wait, he's so likable as a person until he starts shooting children or keeping humans in cages. I'm sure when he got that call, I think his name is Jesse Plemons. I couldn't remember his character
Yeah, that's
name,
his
but
name.
I remember
It's
his
Todd.
actual name.
his name is Todd.
And he is a master of just showing up in projects with the punchable face and being a dick that's outwardly polite. Or in this case, a murderer who's outwardly polite.
He got a little bit fat in between the last time he played the character, but
There were dad bods all over the screen, but
yeah.
we're going to forgive them, except for Skinny Pete, keeping the weight off somehow.
I mean that's the if your
It would be
character
weird for Skinny Pete to be fat. So we're going to give next a most valuable performer, and because we know it would be Jesse or Aaron Paul, then we're going to give it out to one of the many cameos that were in this movie. And so, Barbara, who's your MVC, the most valuable cameo?
So
Either adding to the story or someone that you're just happy was back.
I'm not gonna say I was happy that this person was back, but it's gonna go to the guy that you were just talking about because his performance in this, Todd, like some of those flashback moments with him and Jesse, you kind of like the one that I think of the most is he's getting him to come out of his human kennel so that he can take him to go do an errand, help him with something, which we don't know what it is at the time. And then he like is smoothing down his hair, and it's like the most creepy thing you've ever seen, and so sad because Jesse like literally doesn't do anything. Like this dude is like touching his face and stuff. And then later when we see the actual errand that he needs to help him with, which was he killed his cleaning lady and he needs some help to bury her body. It's like so cold because they roll her up into a carpet and then he makes soup.
It was on the short list for one of my most memorable moments because it's ridiculous, but it's more of a device to show where Jesse was at a moment in his life than anything else. So I lowered it because of that. But as a most valuable cameo, Todd is a good choice. As again, he was my background boss anyway. I'm gonna go with Mike or with Jonathan Banks, Johnny B, because I'm always happy to see Mike. He's the reason I'm probably still watching any of Better Call Saul. That story, Better Call Saul, is a more fleshed out version of Mike. This version, just being a moment, it's kind of the first. I think it's the first scene in the movie.
He's in
He
the end
sets
too.
the tone because he says that's the one thing you can't do is undo what's already been done.
Right, it's a powerful thing to say.
And so that kind of sets us up for we're not here to fix Jesse. He just has to move forward. As in within the story means a lot, and it's just always good to see Johnny B back on screen. So what would you give it, Babs, as a rating? Is it rewatchable, watchable, forgettable?
I want to say rewatchable, but take some time between the first watch and the second watch because it's kind of it's dark just like the show, so it's gonna crush your soul a bit. I would say it's rewatchable, and I'm gonna rewatch it, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more time before I rewatch it.
I mean, in general, that is the Breaking Bad rule. Like, I could never get through more than 2 episodes in a day, and this is basically 2 episodes of Breaking Bad. And same rules will apply. I will definitely rewatch it. Anytime I'm rewatching the series, I'm going to go straight through from the series finale and then continue on and watch El Camino and then take a long shower like Jesse did in the movie because all the happiness will have drained out of my body. And that's it. We're going to wrap it up for El Camino. We both think it's a rewatchable. I don't think it's accessible for people that haven't watched the series, but it is a very watchable movie for any fan of the Breaking Bad universe. Thank you again for listening to this. And if you're thinking that you wasted your time, remember, no one asked for this.